Why does my child matter less than an illegal immigrant? That's what a grieving mother asked Congress this week. Let's talk about Sheridan Gorman.
It seems like we're the only ones talking about Sheridan Gorman. CBS News hasn't mentioned anything about her, the victim, or her mother, Jessica, who was testifying before a congressional committee this week. ABC News, crickets. Nothing from ABC News. CNN, nada. Nobody's talking about Sheridan Gorman. And her mother is grieving. Sheridan Gorman is dead. Welcome to Put Up or Shut Up. Let's talk about her. Who killed her, Lisa?
An illegal immigrant, no doubt. And so I'm going to be reading from notes because I want to make sure that I get my facts straight about this so you guys can get a sense of what's, really going on. And I don't want to, have any hearsay. You're targeted in their group.
So this wasn't the result of an armed robbery or a carjacking or anything else. This was a random act of killing.
Correct. So witnesses noticed his distinct walk, a limp from a prior gunshot wound. Yes, a prior gunshot wound. That plus surveillance led police to a nearby apartment where he lived with his mother, 1 block from the scene. Why do these guys always live with their mommies? A gun appeared, then released into county. June 23rd, arrested for shoplifting in Chicago and released again. Courts show he never appeared in court on that theft charge. March 22nd, an ICE lodged a detainer asking Illinois officials not to release him. He had been in custody since his first court hearing, March 27. In April, a judge ordered him to provide a DNA sample and fingerprint. That's it. Public defenders said he is brain damaged. Okay, we're going with the brain damage defense.
Yeah, the insanity defense. He is currently in Cook County Jail.
Right.
The governor of Illinois would not release him to ICE so that he could be deported.
So she appeared yesterday at the House Judiciary Committee. The hearing was Sanctuary Policies, was the title, Victims and Perspectives. So that's
Sheridan's mom, Jessica, is who appeared before this committee with a few other angel moms, which is what they're so sweetly referred to as mothers who've lost their children.
So where did that come from?
Angel moms?
Wasn't it from Trump? He started that, I believe, when he came into office.
I looked, but I don't remember.
I did. Yeah. He started that for these people who lost their children from illegal immigrants. And he called it.
Yeah. And he's giving them an opportunity to be spokespersons for families so that they can testify before Congress to promote his immigration policy, which, by the way, I agree with.
So her husband was with her and her daughter, her younger daughter, and it was filled with these angel moms. So her core message to the committee was that she blamed failed border policies, sanctuary city laws, and leaders refusing to cooperate with ICE. Her plea to lawmakers, choose us. That was her message. Choose us. And that means to her, she challenged lawmakers to sit down with her, take her hand, look her in the eye, and explain why people here illegally matter more than the U.S. citizen.
And it's a legitimate question, and it was met with derision, especially by a progressive Democrat named Pramila Jayapal.
Jambalaya, that's what I call her.
Yeah, Lisa calls her Jambalaya. I'm going to call her PJ. But what I really want to call her is Pajeeta. And anyone that's Indian will look that up. She is of Indian heritage. She was not a naturally born U.S. citizen. She became a citizen when she was, I think in the year 2000, she became a citizen. She is a member of Congress. She's barbaric.
Yes. I can translate that for people in English. She's a total bitch.
Mm-hmm.
A total bitch. I couldn't even believe what I was seeing, Kim.
She attacked grieving parents.
Mm-hmm.
These mothers opened their hearts and their emotions, and the tears flowed freely as they were describing their children who lost their lives due to the violence of illegal immigrants. This woman made the comment that they've had this hearing already. This is the fourth time.
The fourth, that's what she says.
Fourth time we're having
She
this
did-
hearing. And so she's intimating, right, that they're wasting her time. Go ahead.
She may as well have just said, well, she did say that. If that's how I interpreted it, but she should have just come out and said, you're wasting time.
Right.
We've already discussed this 4 times.
Right.
Because what she did made it sound the same to me.
Another lawmaker, his name is Mike Lawler. He said, and I'm going to read it verbatim because it tears your heart up. Today, Jessica Gorman, and Jessica is Sheridan's mom, sat before this committee, a grieving mother, forced to share the most painful moment of her life because her 20-year-old daughter was shot and killed in Chicago by an illegal immigrant who should never have been in this country. And he says, while she showed extraordinary courage and strength, his colleagues on the other side of the aisle, and he's talking about the effing Democrats, could not hide their indifference. They dismissed the importance of the hearing. Apparently, PJ dismissed it 3 times besides that one time. They said the details of this young woman's murder were not relevant.
Exactly. That's exactly
Hear that
what he
again.
said.
The details of this murder were not relevant. They offered no condolences, and they continue to defend the sanctuary policies that enabled her killer to remain on the streets.
And I
Sanctuary
saw it.
cities, open borders.
Right.
This is something that PJ openly pursues. It's something that she promotes, and it's something that has to stop. Listen to us. Listen to us. Everyone in Congress that's representing us, listen to us. It must stop.
When it gets to the point where you have such a hatred for someone, and the someone I mean is President Trump, that you can't even find it in your heart, if you have one, to sympathize with these grieving parents.
No.
And not only, they couldn't just sit there and listen and bite their tongue, right? And just let her speak, whether it was the 10th time or the 4th time.
Right.
But they
right.
couldn't. They had to
Right.
tell her basically, you know, we've heard this 4 times. You're
Right.
wasting your time. We have other more important
You're
things.
wasting our time. We need to move on to something else. You're wasting our time. But this
Exactly.
is not her first rodeo. Okay. This woman has been promoting and endorsing Trump's zero tolerance immigration policy. And she's not endorsing the policy. She's calling the policy inhumane.
What do you think happened to Sheridan? It was
Of course it was inhumane and cruel,
cold.
but they don't care. Specifically, PJ, our progressive Democrat Congresswoman, doesn't give a shit about what happened to anyone at the hands of an illegal immigrant. She continually votes against any kind of enforcement of our immigration laws. And these aren't new policies. These policies are enforcement of existing immigration law that's been on the books for decades.
Yes, she says Trump is preventing his policies on immigration to stop this.
And it's not just Trump that she's against. She lobbied on immigration reform and sued successfully, by the way, sued the Bush administration to prevent the deportation of over 4,000 Somalis. Let's ask the people in Minneapolis how those 4,000 Somalis have helped their city with the fraud. This is Pramila Jayapal's progressive Democrat policy. They want immigrants here. They don't care if they're criminals. They don't want them deported, and they want them let out of jail here on our soil so they can commit further crimes. I think the criminal here is PJ.
Yes. You know, let me clarify for everybody. Our borders are closed. They've been closed till the freaking test of time. Okay. But this has been the law. Okay. So
Right.
what did we tell our children? We don't have to listen to the law, which they'll interpret as we don't have to listen to authority. I
Do you
mean,
tell your children they have to lock themselves in their rooms and they can't go out because you never know if an illegal immigrant is going to come along and shoot you in the back of the head?
right.
Did you hear Jessica's testimony that she was grateful that at least her daughter was shot in the back of the head and wasn't maimed or raped or suffered any further issues, damages?
Well, she said that in
Grateful for that.
response. She said that in response to
Yes.
Jambalaya's, this is the fourth time. She goes, oh, so I should just be grateful
Right.
that
Right.
she was only killed.
So ICE has asked Governor Pritzker of Illinois and the Chicago sanctuary politicians, because it's not just him, to not release criminal illegal aliens, specifically to not release this one. Yet he did. This man was released twice before he went on and killed Jessica Gorman's daughter, Sheridan. And our disgust is no longer, my disgust has changed direction. I am no longer as deeply disgusted with the illegal aliens that are committing these crimes. I am deeply disgusted at the Democrat politicians in this country, specifically the progressive Democrats, that not only allow this to continue to happen, they encourage it. And we all know why, because they want the votes. They want the illegal votes in the upcoming election, and they don't care who pays for it with their life. Isn't that the bottom line, Lisa?
Yes. And I have to tell you, watching it yesterday, and it wasn't like I was looking, the TV was on in the background while I was working. And I just did a 360, like, because of her, what she said. I didn't even really know what was going on or who was who. And when I like turned around, it got my attention. And I thought to myself, I just was like, I must have had flames out of my head because I was so disgusted. And never once did it enter my mind, Kim, that I was a Republican or I was a Democrat. It just didn't matter. It wasn't about that for me when I was listening to it.
Because you're a mother. That's the way you're reacting to this, is as a mother. Any mother on the planet can relate to the horrific pain that Jessica Gorman is suffering. And her husband says, and he's suffering too, but he says she has an unbelievable amount of courage in order to try and overcome her suffering and over the loss of her daughter, the killing of her daughter, so that she can try and change the laws and do some good and let the people that are in Congress feel the human reaction of what happens when somebody's child is taken from them.
You know what, Kim, I don't know that I could do that if that was my daughter that died.
I don't know that I could do it either.
I really don't. I
don't.
I think I would crawl into a corner and never come out.
Or you would become a vigilante, and your anger would overcome your common sense of what's right and wrong and the appropriate way to change policies and laws, because your grief and your anger it bubbles so much to the surface. How do you tamp that down?
I don't know. You know what, Kim, in all my research here, no, not anywhere did I see why he did it. Why?
I don't know that we're ever going to find out why he did it. We're never going to find out why any of these illegal aliens that commit horrific crimes and take lives do what they do.
Well, this is even worse because he was lying in wait. No reason. Didn't try to steal her wallet. Didn't rape her.
Right.
Oh, it's because he was mentally ill, Kim.
Yeah, well, you know what? A lot of people are mentally ill. And that doesn't mean they should get off from committing crimes. It doesn't mean they should have been allowed into the country. It means they should be vetted. You know what? I was talking to my neighbor this morning about this topic today. And I was getting all fired up. And what I said to her was, I think anyone that is in this country illegally should be gathered up, and especially if they're criminals and they have a criminal history, they should be gathered up But before they're deported, they should have a chip shot into their arm. So when they're deported, we can keep track of where they are and when they come right back in.
That's a great
Dogs
idea.
get chipped, so
Yeah.
should illegal aliens.
And I consider dogs up here and illegal
Absolutely.
immigrants down there. And I know that's going to
Absolutely.
piss some people off.
I don't care if it pisses people off. The person that's most pissed off is Jessica Gorman, and she handled herself
She did.
in that meeting with that horrible woman. She handled herself with as much dignity and grace as she could in front of a woman that has a transgender child, in front of a woman that was diagnosed with COVID-19 in 2021 and blamed it on her Republican colleagues, in front of a woman that should not be serving in Congress.
No.
Get her out.
That there were people napping.
Not only were they people, they were members of Congress.
I know.
They were people on the committee. They're bored. It's outrageous. It's absolutely outrageous. And I can't tell you how much I blame American voters that elect these progressive Democrats into office. And if New York is any indication of what's forthcoming, it's very frightening what's going to happen to this country. Because PJ, Pramila Jayapal, she represents a huge swath of the American population, and it scares the shit out of me.
So we'd like to know your thoughts on this. Actually, this deserves a conversation, a real conversation as parents, not as, a Republican or a Democrat.
Mhm.
That display was disgusting. So let's bring it back around to Sheridan, the person, not the politics, the Northern Lights that she never got to see. Her mother's closing message, which is going to be mine. She was worth protecting. She was worth saving. Final word, Kim?
Yeah. The members of Congress stepped over her dead body to save an illegal immigrant. And I'm disgusted by it.
Thanks for joining us today. It's a serious conversation, but let's continue to have it because there needs to be changes. So like and subscribe, and please leave your comments below so that we can have a conversation.
Then we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.